Hello everybody, it's Cooner Muddy Carol back with another YouTube reaction. Today we're going to be reacting to odd1sout animation before computers. So I've heard of his channel a lot. I've seen a little bit. To be honest, I haven't watched that much. I know he's a little bit more popular with the younger people. But I saw this title of this video and it piqued my interest a little bit. So I feel like, why not? We could just react to it. Here we go.
When you're watching any animated piece of media, I think it's easy to forget that you're watching drawings move. Excuse me? What kind of Harry Potter dark magic is this? Since when did drawings move? I drew a picture of a dog once, but it hasn't moved yet.
I mean, like, we don't really have drawings anymore, right? It's all computer animation. I mean, like, there's, like, I don't know. Would you still consider that drawing? I know there's, like, digital art you can do. But, like, digital animation, isn't it more like programming? Or is there still a drawing aspect to it?
At all, not even to play fetch. Well,
Oh
what
my
you're
God.
really watching isn't actually moving. What you're really watching is a series of individual frames played at a rapid speed on a liquid crystal display screen that emit photons into your eyeball receptors that get processed by your brain into what it perceives as movement.
Is anyone, when they were little, with their friends, what was it? Right on, get the little post-it pack and just draw their pictures slightly a little different each time and just flip through it. I remember, like, in elementary school, kids were doing that all the time. And even then, what was it? What were the books called? They were called, like, Animorphs. When you see the kids transform into the animals, you literally just flip the book and you see them transform.
It was all a trickery, you see. A ruse that you fell for hook, line, and sinker. Now, a lot of you probably already know about the concept of a frame rate, but what I want you to understand is that in cartoons, every head turn, every blink, everything that happens had to be meticulously drawn by a person who studied anatomy and knows about physics and movement, knowing full well that their drawing was only going to be seen for a fraction of a second. And you weren't even watching, you were on your phone. Today, I would like to turn back the sands of time and talk about some of the ways animators were able to achieve the illusion of life without the help of modern technology. I hope by watching you can better understand.
I forget what series it was, but you always kind of see it pop up in, like, slice of life anime, like mangakas and animators just working overnights all the damn time, living in their fucking workplace. That is so sad. I understand it's like a necessity sometimes to get projects done, but like should we really have to overwork ourselves?
Understand and appreciate the medium of animation as much as I do, because the amount of dedication and hard work that goes into just making drawings move is unreal. And if you're like me and already know a bit about animation history and find this kind of stuff fascinating...
there's Kiki's Delivery Service. Go back. Oh. Is that supposed to be like Totoro with Winnie the Pooh? I think I've seen Bart Simpson in the back,
I didn't have
too.
a lot of friends growing up either. Now, we know that animation is just copious amounts of drawings
Oh my God, look at that
shown
drawing.
in rapid succession. But how the are we going to get people to look at copious amounts of drawings in rapid succession without a computer? Well, believe it or not, there's actually quite a few things we can do without even having to use a camera. One method we can try is by drawing out all of our frames on a stack of paper. I know
just like the Post-it notes.
time-consuming part, but after we're done doing that, we'll hang up all our drawings side by side on a very long wall. Then we'll ride a bike next to the wall and continuously have our head turned facing the wall. And if we pedal fast enough, we'll zip by the drawings so fast that it'll look like they're moving. Hey, look! It's a horse! Okay, you're probably thinking, that's not how animation is made. And you're right. This method of animation is totally impractical, but not impossible. This type of human transportational animation has been done before in subway tunnels, with the results looking pretty legit. I mean, this minion looks like he's totally moving. I might as well be in the cinema. And for those of the gamer variety, YouTuber Pale of Pears was able to achieve this method of animation flawlessly in Minecraft. But if you wanted to do something more practical, you could instead take your drawings off the really long wall and then stack them up like a book and then just flip through the paper quickly, making a flip book. If you have some sticky notes lying around that you forgot about in a junk drawer somewhere, you can make a pretty simple ball bouncing animation. Really
Why would you put a butcher knife in there?
The results being, kind of cool. A fun fact, this type of animation was featured in every single copy of the animal books, which I never read.
To be honest, I think a lot of people never actually read the book because I just remember kids in school checking out the books just to flip through them.
I would just flip through the pages and watch the children in the corner transform into elephants and starfish and this weird blue alien centaur thing. And what the heck was going on in these books, man? Okay, this next method of showing people drawings in rapid succession is going to be a little bit crazy. I don't want to freak you out, but it's basically on the same level as rocket science, okay? We're going to have to jump up a whole dimension for this one. What you're going to do is sculpt out a three-dimensional figure of whatever you want to animate. Let's animate,
I love
I don't know, this guy jumping. So first, I'm going to sculpt my guy just standing there, just being a dude.
Why does he have
this
like
will
a
be
badonkadonk?
Frame 1. Now, okay, I know some of you are probably thinking, oh, I see where this is going. You're going to take a picture of the sculpture, then change its pose slightly, take a picture of that, and then slightly change the pose over and over while continuously starting and stopping the camera, making it seem like our subject has some sort of motion. No, actually, we're not going to be doing any of that. Cameras haven't been invented yet in this hypothetical. What we're doing instead is making a whole new sculpture that will be the next frame of our animation. So it'll be our guy again, bending his legs a little bit, getting ready for the jump. All right, neat. That's frame 2. Now let's do this a total of, 16 times? That sounds good. Let's also make the 16th sculpture look like it came before the first sculpture. So you understand? It's going to go from the 16th sculpture back to the first one. It's a loop, like a tick-tock. We're doing a tick-tock loop. Now we're going to take all 16 of our sculptures and space them out evenly on a round table. Sorry, Arthur, I'm going to need this.
Oh,
now,
man.
make the table spin. That's on you to figure out how to do. I don't know. Maybe get the bike guy from the first example to
fall off.
I doubt any of you are actually following along, but if you are, put all your sculptures on a spinning table right now. And make it quick, all right? I'm not going to wait for you. And now, for the final step, turn your lights on and off really quickly. And if we did everything right, the effect we get is mesmerizing.
That's too much work. Oh my god, the penguins are cool.
What's happening is that the light shines at the first sculpture, and then we turn the lights off. Cool. Then, as the table spins, the light will turn back on when the second sculpture is in the same position as the first. So we turn the lights on when the sculptures are in the same spot, and we turn them off when they're not. And what we end up seeing is all of our figures standing in a circle performing the animation, and we don't even register that the whole thing is spinning. And
this is like a huge brain trick.
You all know what a zoetrope is now, which I know is a pretty fun word that you can whip out at parties like, yeah, I know a unique word that starts with the letter Z that isn't xylophone. Another fun thing about the zoetrope is that a 3D rendering of one was featured in the Season 2 opening of Mob Psycho 100. So that's what that spinning thing in the intro was. It's a zoetrope.
Okay.
Zoetrope. Okay, let's talk about one more way we can show people drawings in quick succession without a camera, and it's the easiest method by far. So, all we need is this glitchy, abstract drawing like this.
That hurts the eyes.
Pretty cool and random, right? Except it's not. It's not random at all. I lied. Every line here is placed very deliberately. Let me show you something. If we take this floppy, transparent sheet full of vertical bars and cover up most of the drawing, hey, look at that.
Oh,
the outline we end up seeing looks like one of them kitty cats.
That's pretty cool.
Now, if we slide the transparent sheet over and reveal different parts of the drawing, it looks like a kitty cat but in a different position. And if we keep sliding this sheet over, revealing different parts of the drawing, Look at him go.
Okay.
This is called a barrier grid animation, and with the right
never
base
seen that
drawing,
before.
you can make all sorts
That's
of animations
new.
that don't hurt to look at
Well,
at all.
new to me.
And I just want to point out that a barrier grid animation was also featured in the season 2 opening of Mob Psycho 100.
Oh my god, did you just like watch Mob
If
Psycho
you
and
guys wanna
just
watch
decided to
anime
make this
later,
video?
So all these different methods of showing people drawings in quick succession, I don't know if there's a word for it, but I'm calling it physical animation. Like animation you can hold and touch with your fingers, you know?
look at that
All
cool
those
dinosaur.
warrior cat animation memes, that's digital animation, right? This is physical. It's the real deal. But there's one form of physical animation that we haven't talked about yet that's unarguably the most popular and the most important form of physical animation to have ever existed on Earth. Excuse me. Okay, now we're gonna use cameras, okay? They finally figured it out. With the invention of film, showing people multiple images in quick succession had never been easier. Now we can take something from real life, burn an image of that into a film strip, process it, and then shine a light through it again to get a recreation of the image. And if we roll this whole strip of film over this strobe light, we get moving pictures. That's why they're called movies.
Oh, is that
'cause
why
they
the-
move? What the fuck?
I never even thought about that. That's what the light flicker
the movements
is.
of real people. But it was also used in the same way to capture the movements of people of the animated variety. Let's take a look at an old cartoon. The 1968
Ancient.
animated
Oh my God,
Batman
shut up.
series. The first time Batman has ever appeared in the animation form.
Oh, did they remaster it? I don't remember
Batman
looking at
cartoon
it.
that had onomatopoeias appear on the screen.
Well, I
during
never
fight
even watched
scenes.
it. I just heard it was old.
Except they didn't. They didn't do that in the cartoon. Visually showing the verbiage of impacts was exclusively an Adam West thing. In the
Yeah.
cartoon, you gotta see those impacts.
Not really.
Hey, can I ask you a thought-provoking
It's like
question?
in anime when they do like the action lines, but
What
they
the
don't
fuck am I
actually show you what
looking
it
at?
is.
I know it's Batman high-kicking a goon, but how is it moving? This frame was captured on film, so there had to be a physical camera to capture it, right?
How
So
high can he
where
kick?
is this drawing? It's not on a computer. Computers in the 60s looked like this. So where is this? So every animated movie and animated TV show and animated anime before the year 2000-ish used what's called cell animation. This frame of Batman was hand-painted, that's right, painted with special paint onto a transparent celluloid sheet, or cell. And then this transparent sheet was laid on top of a hand-painted background, and then this goon that got kicked, well, he had to be painted on his own cell sheet too, and then this image of sandwiched art was
Are those the
captured
real
onto
art,
a
or did he just
film
like
thing,
3D print them or
strip.
some shit?
Then the Batman cell would come off and be replaced by a whole new hand-painted cell of Batman, and then
Oh my
that frame
God.
would be captured, and then the whole process would repeat again and again until the shot was done. This one shot that lasted a little
Animation
over a
is
second
so
used 14
time-consuming.
different hand-painted drawings of Batman, and the goon had 6 just for a second. Now, because having to hand paint 20 different images for 1 second is insane, there are some things we can do to cut corners without
You don't
having
get
to
any more, go
sacrifice
outside.
too much. Like in this shot, Robin takes 5 frames to turn his head, but his body doesn't move. So we can paint his body once on its own cell, and now we only need to paint 5 different heads. And since we already have
Okay,
all the
that makes
frames
sense.
painted, we can just use the same frames in reverse to make his head turn the other way. And you don't need to pay a background artist to paint a background if you just use blue. A big part of cell animation was being able to animate pieces of a character independently of each other. That's actually why so many old cartoon characters had accessories around their necks, so the animators could separate the characters' heads from their bodies, making it easier to animate.
I didn't know
wasn't
that.
rocking
See,
ascot
learn
just
something
'cause it was
new.
trendy. One of the nice things about using a computer to animate is that you
I
can
don't think
play
ascots
back
were ever
what you've
trendy.
animated and
It's like one of those
clearly see if
things
your
made up
timing
by
is
time.
correct and if there's any quick adjustments you can make. Being able to see what your previous frames are is so important there's actually a term for it called onion skinning. But animators pre-2K didn't have computers to re-watch their work, so here's what they did instead. Before they even put paint onto a cell, they first had to draw all their frames out onto a piece of paper.
Oh, yeah,
And they didn't
storyboarding.
work on the frames in chronological order. Like, they didn't go, okay, I just drew the first frame of Batman. Okay, here's the second frame of Batman. Okay, I'm going to go do the third frame of Batman. Okay, you do the fourth frame, though. That way of animating is called
just
straight-ahead
dead in the
animation,
background.
and some people use it, but the results look pretty chaotic, but it's still used pretty effectively for effects and concert visuals. But most of the time, animators will animate a character from pose to pose. They'll draw out all the important key poses a character will make on paper, and then they'll hold the pieces of paper between each of their fingers and then quickly flip between their drawings just to get an idea of what a drawing that goes in between those key poses would look like. That's called in-betweening, just so you know. And they still wouldn't be able to get a full playback of their animation until every pencil drawing was captured on film and processed. They just had to trust their page flipping technique and their highly trained eyeballs.
Oh my
and go,
God.
yeah, that looks about right. Let's bring
So
out the
difficult.
paint. And because there are hundreds of shots all having to be animated without a computer, can you really blame the animators that some shots of Batman looked like this? Or this? It was old, remember? Old things are bad. Okay, I kind of have a secret.
They're not
Remember
all
when
bad.
I said, let's look at an old cartoon? Well, I might have overemphasized how old the Batman cartoon is.
Yeah, it's
By the
not that
time
old.
the Batman cartoon came out,
Like 60s?
the movie Bambi had been out for 25 years. And
Or
are you
50?
aware of
Or
how
70?
f***ing fluid the animation in Bambi is? Dude, Bambi goes so f***ing hard. Walt literally brought in deer from the f***ing woods into their studio just so the animators could be like, oh, that's neat. That's how deers move. I understand this more now.
Is that like
What the f-
safe?
I honestly thought
for the
Batman
animal?
show came out way earlier in the animation timeline because of how it looked. Obviously, these
Were they
two
throwing
things are
balls on
created by
string at each
different
other?
studios with different animators and different budgets, and TV animation always has to create more animation per budget, but all the same techniques
Yeah, they don't
and
get any
equipment
budget
used
at
to
all.
make an episode of Batman were the exact same techniques and equipment used to make an episode of Bambi. I don't mean that as a dunk on Batman. I'm more so impressed with how amazing Bambi looks, especially since while it came out,
did they come
World
out?
War II was currently happening.
Oh, it was
Because
before the
celluloid
50.
sheets
Okay,
were
they
used
are.
to animate
Okay, that
every
is old.
TV show, movie, and anime there has ever
40s.
been before the year 2000-ish. By my calculations,
30s?
there are millions of cell sheets out there. Like
Oh my
this
God.
single frame of
I wouldn't
Batman
want a cell
kicking,
sheet.
it's on a cell sheet somewhere. And more importantly, who owns it? Many of the cells that still exist have been sold to the general public. But because of how the paint and time works, cell sheets need to be kept very well preserved.
Wow, look
So
at all the
since cells
anime.
are very hard to preserve,
Ta-da.
and because they're not making any new ones, some cells are worth a
Nicholas.
lot of money. This cell and original background from My Neighbor Totoro sold for $84,000. While I'm writing the script, there's
See, I
currently
love the
an auction
movie,
going
but
on
I wouldn't
for
want
this
the damn
cell from the
cell.
Jungle Book
I
for
don't care.
$10,000. And I own this cell of Squidward laughing that I got at a convention for $300. It's not an original background. The background's a print. And it's
Ah.
actually not even the correct background for the shot.
So I was like, that doesn't look
Pointing
real.
out that not all cells are thousands of dollars.
Okay. Okay, I'm like, that doesn't look like, because he doesn't even fit on the chair.
And then you get to own a frame of animation. Like that belongs to you now, which I think is super cool. This moment of Squidward laughing belongs to me. You can't have it. So if you ever visit some friends who really like cartoons, there's a good chance that they have an animation cell somewhere on display. And those are
68? I
just
thought they
a
said during
handful
World War
of ways
II.
that animators were able to achieve
World
the
War II was-
illusion of life without
Was
a
Bambi
computer.
just like a
And I
lot
do
older
just
than
want to say,
Batman?
just because
Okay, I
something
thought he
was
said they were, like, the
animated
same
on a
time.
computer,
I know he said
doesn't make it
before,
any
but I
less
didn't think he meant,
artistic.
like, 20
yes,
years.
computers make the process easier and more streamlined, absolutely. It's still a human expressing their creativity and being in control of that. Did you hear me? It's a human expressing themselves
Oh,
and
the
being
AI
in control
shit.
creatively. I hope you enjoyed learning a bit about animation history. There's still quite a few things that I didn't get to cover,
Things I
like
didn't
how did
mention.
Walt animate this panning, parallaxing shot of
But
Bambi
you could
where the
see
trees move on separate
that
layers?
they're, like,
What kind of technology
layered.
did they create to
Doesn't
make
look that
trees
nice.
move at different speeds?
I mean, it was
So
nice
much
for the
hard
time,
work
I'm sure,
and
but that
talent
doesn't
is
look-
involved in every piece of animation you see, and because of animation, we're able to tell incredible stories that are nothing like anything we ever see in our day-to-day lives. And before I go, can we talk about the intro to the Batman series, please? Oh my god.
Oh.
I
it's
just
like-
want to go over some quick announcements. I'll
just
be
like
quick, don't
epilepsy.
worry. The Scribble Showdown Tour is
Oh my
coming
God.
back in January
Wait,
to a
where's the
city
mouse?
near you, but this time the kiddies aren't invited. That's right, only the adults this time.
Look at it. This is how many people work on his videos? Oh, it's like a whole ass team. It looks really nice though, so yeah, it would make sense that there's a whole lot of team. Like the nicer things get, you could tell that more people worked on it. Well, thank you for watching today. I think I learned a lot. It was funny, but it was also kind of educational, so I really love that. If you have anything to say, comment, like, subscribe, do all that fun stuff. I'll see you guys later.